Genesis 1. In the beginning God created heaven and earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep water. The Spirit of God was hovering over the water. Then God said, "Let there be light." So there was light. God saw the light was good. So God separated the light from the darkness. God named the light day, and the darkness he named night. There was evening, then morning, the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a horizon in the middle of the water in order to separate the water." So God made the horizon and separated the water above and below the horizon. And so it was. God named what was above the horizon sky. There was evening, then morning, the second day. Then God said, "Let the water under the sky come together in one area, and let the dry land appear." And so it was. God named the dry land earth. The water which came together he named sea. God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the earth produce vegetation, plants bearing seeds each according to its own type, and fruit trees bearing fruit with seeds each according to its own type." And so it was. The earth produced vegetation, plants bearing seeds each according to its own type, and trees bearing fruit with seeds each according to its own type. God saw that they were good. There was evening, then morning, a third day. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the sky to separate the day from the night. There will be signs and will mark religious festivals, days, and years. There will be lights in the sky to shine on the earth." And so it was. God made the two bright lights, the larger light to rule the day, and the smaller light to rule the night. He also made the stars. God put them in the sky to give light to the earth, to dominate the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. God saw that it was good. There was evening, then morning, a fourth day. Then God said, "Let the waters swarm with swimming creatures, and let birds fly through the sky over the earth." So God created the large sea creatures, every type of creature that swims around in the water, and every type of flying bird. God saw that they were good. God blessed them and said, "Be fertile, increase in number, fill the sea, and let there be many birds on the earth." There was evening, then morning, a fifth day. Then God said, "Let the earth produce every type of living creature, every type of domestic animal, crawling animal, and wild animal." And so it was. God made every type of wild animal, every type of domestic animal, and every type of creature that crawls on the ground. God saw that they were good. Then God said, "Let us make humans in our image, in our likeness. Let them rule the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, the domestic animals all over the earth, and all the animals that crawl on the earth." So God created humans in his image. In the image of God he created them. He created them male and female. God blessed them and said, "Be fertile, increase in number, fill the earth and be its master. Rule the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that crawl on the earth." God said, "I have given you every plant with seeds on the face of the earth, and every tree that has fruit with seeds. This will be your food. I have given all green plants as food to every land animal, every bird in the sky, and every animal that crawls on the earth, every living, breathing animal." And so it was. And God saw everything that he had made, and that was very good. There was evening, then morning, the sixth day. Genesis 2. Heaven and earth and everything in them were finished. By the seventh day God had finished the work he had been doing. On the seventh day he stopped the work he had been doing. Then God blessed the seventh day and set it apart as holy, because on that day he stopped all his work of creation. This is the account of heaven and earth when they were created, at the time when the Lord God made earth and heaven. Wild bushes and plants were not on the earth yet, because the Lord hadn't sent rain on the earth. Also there was no one to farm the land. Instead, underground water would come up from the earth and water the entire surface of the ground. Then the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the earth, and blew the breath of life into his nostrils. The man became a living being. The Lord planted a garden in Eden in the east. That's where he put the man whom he had formed. The Lord God made all the trees grow out of the ground. These trees were nice to look at, and their fruit was good to eat. The tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil grew in the middle of the garden. A river flowed from Eden to water the garden. Outside the garden it divided into 4 rivers. The name of the first river is Pishon. This is the one that winds throughout Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is pure. Bdellium and onyx are also found there. The name of the second river is Gihon. This is the one that winds throughout Sudan. The name of the third river is Tigris. This is the one that flows east of Assyria. The fourth river is the Euphrates. Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to farm the land and take care of it. The Lord God commanded the man. He said, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must never eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because when you eat from it, you will certainly die." Then the Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper who is right for him." The Lord God had formed all the wild animals and all the birds out of the ground. Then he brought them to the man to see what he would call them. Whatever the man called each creature became its name. So the man named all the domestic animals, all the birds, and all the wild animals. But the man found no helper who was right for him. So the Lord God caused him to fall into a deep sleep. While the man was sleeping, the Lord God took out one of the man's ribs and closed up the flesh at that place. And the Lord God formed a woman from the rib that he had taken from the man. He brought her to the man. The man said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She will be named woman, because she was taken from man. That is why a man will leave his father and mother and will be united with his wife, and they will become one flesh." The man and his wife were both naked, but they weren't ashamed of it. Genesis 3. The snake was more clever than all the wild animals the Lord God had made. He asked the woman, "Did God really say you must never eat the fruit of any tree in the garden?" The woman answered the snake, "We're allowed to eat the fruit from any tree in the garden except the tree in the middle of the garden. God said, you must never eat it or touch it. If you do, you will die." "You certainly won't die," the snake told the woman. "God knows that when you eat it, your eyes will be open. You'll be like God, knowing good and evil." The woman saw that the tree had fruit that was good to eat, nice to look at, and desirable for making someone wise. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then their eyes were opened, and they both realized that they were naked. They sewed fig leaves together and made clothes for themselves. In the cool of the evening, the man and his wife heard the Lord God walking around in the garden. So they hid from the Lord God among the trees of the garden. The Lord God called to the man and asked him, "Where are you?" He answered, "I heard you in the garden. I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." God asked, "Who told you that you were naked? Did you eat fruit from the tree I commanded you not to eat from?" The man answered, "That woman, the one you gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." Then the Lord God asked the woman, "What have you done?" "The snake deceived me, and I ate it," the woman answered. So the Lord God said to the snake, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all the wild or domestic animals. You will crawl on your belly. You will be the lowest of animals as long as you live. I will make you and the woman hostile toward each other. I will make your descendants and her descendant hostile toward each other. He will crush your head, and you will bruise his heel." He said to the woman, "I will increase your pain and your labor when you give birth to children. Yet you will long for your husband, and he will rule you." Then he said to the man, "You listened to your wife and ate from the tree. Although I commanded you, you must never eat its fruit. The ground is cursed because of you. Through hard work you will eat food that comes from it every day of your life. The ground will grow thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat wild plants. By the sweat of your brow you will produce food to eat until you return to the ground, because you were taken from it. You are dust, and you will return to dust." Adam named his wife Eve, because she became the mother of every living person. The Lord God made clothes from animal skins for the man and his wife and dressed them. Then the Lord God said, "The man has become like one of us. Since he knows good and evil, he must not reach out and take the fruit from the tree of life and eat. Then he would live forever." So the Lord God sent the man out of the Garden of Eden to farm the ground from which the man had been formed. After he sent the man out, God placed angels and a flaming sword that turned in all directions east of the Garden of Eden. He placed them there to guard the way to the tree of life.